Hello, I'm Harlan. Now I want to tell you a truth that only Holy Ghost people will tell you. So pay attention. Nobody tells you this. You see, psychiatrists get on Bill O'Reilly's show. They can't tell you the truth. He cannot tell you the truth, and he knows it. I'll tell you the truth, what happens here, because I'm going to have another purpose. Another video will follow this one about trained Bible worshipers. Now, I was in the Army at 17. I trained with the 101st Airborne Division at Fort Jackson, South Carolina for 8 weeks, basic training. And then I went back for 8 more weeks. 16 weeks I took advanced infantry training. I learned to fight with bayonets, with my helmet, with my entrenching tool. I learned to fight with everything that moved. They taught me to fight. And so I was assigned to the 25th Infantry Division. And they had just left Korea in '54. And they was training us. Them DIs there at Fort Jackson would tell us they'd been over there. They said, boy, you better learn to fight. Said they come out of the north and overrun you at night, and they come into your foxhole. They didn't come there to get you to surrender. He said, you got to fight with your hand, with your helmet, with everything you fight with, because you make them die for their country, as General Patton said. And I fought so much. I was just 17. I was from the land of the Hatfields and McCoys. We fought anyway. And the captain sent me to a psychiatrist. Now listen to what I'm going to tell you. I went to the psychiatrist and I sat across from his desk, and he asked his desk, and he asked me many questions and looked at me, and how they make funny faces. And he said, boy, I'm going to tell you, go back and tell your captain. He said, you trained this boy to fight. You trained him. And you told him that in a foxhole, they'll kill him. So that's the way he solves his problems, is fighting. He's the only psychiatrist that ever told the truth. These men at My Lai, they was trained to fight. They're trained to fight. That's why President Nixon, he pardoned Lieutenant Kelly, because they were trained to fight. They train us to fight. I got 2 honorable discharges from the Army and the Navy, and I slept with these men coming out of Korea, and they'd killed, and you'd hear them scream at night. See, these are trained people to fight. They train to fight. And then when they hear about a soldier shooting somebody, they say, oh, what a surprise. What a surprise. Well, what made him do that? And they'll analyze, and they get on there and tell you a bunch of big lies. And they'll never tell you he was trained to fight. That's the way he solves his problems. If you see a soldier, I don't care if it's in a bar room or in a family gathering, anything, if he's a soldier or a Marine, don't insult him. Because especially them that's troopers that fight behind the lines, or especially Navy SEALs. If you insult one of them, they'll attack you. And they learn to fight. That's the way they settle their differences. And don't attack them, because they will do you in. And you insult one of them, they'll be back with their gun. This is what's wrong with them. They're trained to fight. I was trained to fight. He trains you. You've got to defend yourself. That's the way they solve their problem. So don't let anybody ever tell you any difference. That's the only psychiatrist that ever told the truth in all the world. I tell you the plain truth. They're trained to do this. When they went to get Bin Laden, them Navy SEALs, they didn't say, Mr. Bin Laden, we'd like you to come with us. They put him in a body bag and took him and buried him with the fish. That's the way they do. They're trained to do that. And when you fight one of them, they get deadly on you. So don't stir them up. Leave them alone. Respect them. They are trained to fight. The government trains them to fight. And that's the way they are. Always remember, I tell you the truth here on this channel, because we're Holy Ghost people. I take up for the soldiers some because I was in there and I understand them. But the Holy Ghost changed me. And I'll be telling you about that and about Bible worshipers. When they analyze a soldier, they say he got a post-traumatic syndrome or something. That's a lie. He's a trained fighter. And that's why 22 of them kill themselves every day in the military, because they can't stand who they are. They don't like to kill. But that's what they are. They're trained fighters. And you always remember what I told you. And when you see one of them, you remember. They're trained. They carry the guns, and they're trained. The Bible's an idol, and it's the mark of the beast. The only way to get out is the Holy Ghost.